welcome everyone to another meeting of the Mental Health Minis. I'm really, honestly thrilled to be today to be joined by Bryan Gunn, former Norwich City goalkeeper. Bryan, welcome.
No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
As always with these, we keep them a bit short, so to keep people engaged. Bryan, thank you very much for doing this. Probably jump straight in and tell me about your experiences with mental health.
Well, I suppose mine goes back to, events and football results, I suppose, more than anything else. And I suppose that's something as you have to overcome as a professional football player is the highs and lows, the winning, sort of experience, and then obviously the losing experience. And I suppose that comes home to hit you more when you're the goalkeeper as well. But, just a couple that, really stand out for me. Going back to 1992, and we got beat 7-1 by Blackburn Rovers, away at Ewood Park. But that wasn't really the finish for me, because it's the same weekend my daughter passed away, Francesca. So I was going through quite a lot of emotions, both professionally and personally, alongside my wife. Susan was very strong and supportive to me as well. But what helped me through Francesca's illness and sort of the treatments that she'd have to go and have was my football. That I was able to go into train with my teammates for a couple of hours at least, and try and forget about the other things that were happening in my life. And obviously leukemia is sort of a long illness, as it was for Francesca. It was over a year of treatment, and then finally, unfortunately, she lost her life to it. And again, I think my attitude was that there was a grieving time for me, which I did, but there was also a need to get back to what I knew best, what gave me comfort, and that was back on the training pitch. And I was very fortunate that our first team coach at the time, John Dean, we did one-to-one sessions for about 5 or 6 days after Francesca's passing, which really sort of got me, sort of fixed back on my professional career. And then, the manager, Mike Walker, decided to put me in against Queen's Park Rangers. And I think, running out onto that pitch that day, obviously the fans had been with me throughout Francesca's illness. I'd been very supportive in the charity work and different things that we were doing at the time. But, the fans that day, there was, enormous rush of emotion and, support, I would call it. And also at the end of the game, from my own fellow teammates who, knew what I was going through, had their own situations, their own families, but also my opposing teammates, the likes of Ray Wilkins at the time as well. He was fantastic. Ollie was great as well. Some great people who really comforted me around that time. And as I say, I used that as my positive to help me with the tough times that we had, and obviously still have today, 29 years later.
Yeah. Obviously, I can never associate with that feeling of losing a child, but it's how did you kind of, for want of a better word, and I'm not sure how to word this, so apologies if it's wrong, how did you come out the other side? Because obviously that must have been some real lows at that point, and we know that time can sometimes make things worse and sometimes it can make things better. So you obviously talk about being positive a bit more these days, and like there's a lot you talk about, but how did you come out how did you get past the initial downs?
Well, we had to live the next day because our other daughter, Melissa, was there. So we had to look after her. As parents, that was our next job to help her in her early life. And as I said, with Susan, who was very strong throughout the whole period, and great family and friends around us as well. And I think that's important that you use those opportunities, those situations, those people that love you and can help you through the situation. And I think that's what we did. And then as well, the charity work helped me. I was doing a lot of external visits. People were doing lots of fundraising events, and I would sort of go along to those. And again, just seeing people have that knowledge of Francesca's life, even though it was short, wanted to do something for other children who would suffer from the same illness in the future. And I've met other children who've recovered from leukemia since then, and that's given me such a boost to know that that some of the work that we did, some of the research that we did, sort of community nurses helping families going into houses, we come up with some great ideas, and delighted that they were all part of some little children's helping them get back on with their life, and helping parents get back on with their life as well. So I think that, again, that's where I take the positives from, and so we worked together as a family and stuck together, and I think that's what we're still doing today.
And like you mentioned it a minute ago, I just wanted to pick up on it, in the fact that obviously you had your daughter to look after her, but I can imagine you and Susan helped each other through it quite a lot as well. I know when I've had my moments, my wife's helped me. So
I think that's important. Well, I suppose when you stand up at the front of the church and you read out your vows and your vows, and in sickness and health, and I don't think they'll put the word mental health in there in the future, but that is something that you've promised to do, and we continue to do it to this day. Obviously now we've got Angus, who's sort of was born after Francesca's passing, but they're all positives that we have to look forward for. But also still remember the past, and still remember, the memory of Francesca, which, as I say, I've done today on a social media platform.
It's funny because we mentioned we talk about mental health and mental well-being, and often people immediately are drawn to the negative side of that, but there is also a positive side, and obviously, not that it can ever necessarily equate to the lows, but you've had quite a few highs, obviously, for Norwich City and for Scotland. And then obviously watching your children grow up, and obviously the one we know about is Angus in goal for Norwich. So like having these positive things can only be a good thing for you.
Yeah, and now I'm a granddad. I know I don't look like one, but I'm a granddad. Baby Blake is Angus and Phoebe's first baby girl. She's just past 1, so again, that's another positive to get up in the morning for, and to sort of look out for anything she does. I mean, she just started walking recently, and sort of those moments that I can remember back, even with Francesca, and sort of all those sort of memory days that sort of proud parents will always look back on. But as I say, that's my personal life. Also, the football side of it was ups and downs, and I've had a 7-1 defeat as a goalkeeper, and I've had a 7-1 defeat as a manager. So not too many people can say that in their professional career. I also got the job as manager on a 4-0 victory over Barnsley, but lost my job after a 4-0 victory over Yeovil.
Yes.
So it just shows you that there's nothing, you can't take anything for granted in this life, and things are come along to test you, and it's how you come out the other side after the tests. And that was a downside in my professional career, obviously losing my job as manager, but at the same time, I've overcome that situation. So just looking forward to the next stages of life, and enjoying watching Angus play football. My daughter Melissa is a graphic designer. My wife's an artist as well. who's doing great things, and Phoebe and Blake are also in my life now. So I've got lots to look forward to.
Wonderful. And so on to like the next thing I bring up is, so that's kind of your experiences in terms of how you are currently, in terms of your day to day. What can have an effect on you, good or bad? I mean, obviously everyone is different. Some people are affected by decisions they make. Some people are affected by even the weather. So like for you, what improves your mood, or what can send you into some kind of unhappiness in the day?
Well, I'm not really that type of person. I think everyone that I work with will say that I'm the one in the office that sort of G's everyone up in the morning, comes in with that happy face. And although I don't know, it might be covering up something else, I don't know, but certainly it gets me a few cups of tea out of the rest of the staff when you G them up in the morning. But I'm one of those people that like to speak to people, like to ask people how they are, even if it's just for a few short moments, just to say hello, say hello to strangers in the street. I think that's another thing that the lockdown has not taught me, but sort of made me do more. And when you were out walking, and everyone was in sort of not isolation, but distancing. Those type of things, were very important, just to say hello to people, and sometimes see what their reaction was, whether you would get a response or not. And then we moved house during the lockdown as well, which was quite an experience. So we've got a whole bunch of neighbours, and I'm saying we've come back now 18 months ago when we moved, but for the first time last weekend we actually met them and gave them a little hug at a wedding reception. So one of the couples, new couples in the development, they had to put off their wedding, and it finally came around to that situation last week, and we were sort of out for the first time really in a social experience with these neighbours that we've been living beside for 18 months. And apart from the NHS wave and clap and shouting down the street saying hello to people, that's been a weird experience as well, certainly for somebody like me who's a people's person.
I think it's interesting you talk about the lockdown, because I think a lot of people, and again with these I never really want to talk too much about myself, but we were supposed to get married, and in the end we did towards the end of the lockdown, but we had to postpone ours 3 times. And also I started a new job 6 months before the lockdown. So there were people a few weeks ago that I'd never met in person because we'd been working remotely. But like you, I like to think I'm a people person. I like to sort of enjoy people around me, enjoy their company. Not saying I always enjoy mine, but but it's everyone is very different. But I think I do resonate with what you say about you specifically. Other people improve your mood because you get to interact with them, talk to them, and that's what kind of brings you up in the day. So I'm definitely with you on that one for me.
Yeah, no, and I think it's something that continue to do as much as you can, because it's always nice to meet new people as well. And the fact that in my job I'm allowed to go back to work into football stadiums, which again for sort of 15 months of the 18 we weren't allowed to do. We were watching so many games on television, so many games on laptops, but the fact that you can actually go to a football stadium now and sort of sit in close proximity to other people. I watched Burnley v Norwich last weekend, and we were in the guest room with a good friend of mine who just turned 60, and we were having a curry and rice as if like nothing had happened in the previous 18 months. And the other football scouts were back there as well. So again, just to see them and say hello to them, and just have a quick catch up face to face is so much better for me than it is on the telephone.
Yeah, and I agree with you hugely. I mean, the working remotely, we've used various programs to keep in touch, and it's not the same as being in person. So
yeah, definitely.
It's definitely been an improvement on my mental health to go back into the office. Bryan, as with all of these, I to keep engagement. I want to keep them short. But I suppose the final thing from me before I thank you is, if you got any advice for anyone that's watching this that either is struggling themselves or that may know someone that's struggling?
Well, I just reach out to people, and I think the fact that it was World Mental Health Day the other day, just passed, you notice a lot of people, sort of promoting it, highlighting it, offering their support, offering their ear, offering their direct messages, whatever it may be. And it's to look out for those type of situations. And if you can improve it by just saying hi, or do you want to chat or something like that, then I think that's what we should be doing as human beings, is trying to help everyone through whatever difficult situation there is, because we don't know what what they're going through. Completely different from your own situation, but as long as you say, offer that, whether it's a hand, olive branch, an ear, just to sort of allow somebody to get something off their chest, then I think that's the best advice I can give.
I agree, and I just want to, something you said there about everyone is going through their own story, and everyone is very different. And it's true. Everyone, two people can have almost exactly the same situation and have completely different reactions to it, just because of the way we're built, the way we're wired. But the whole point of these is if anyone is watching, they may resonate with what you've said. Obviously, with the loss of your daughter, many people unfortunately have to go through that. It's horrible, but it exists in the world. But you've come the other side of it, seeing there are positives as well as the negatives. The things like that will never be good, but you have come out the other side going, yep, okay, there are also good things in my life, and it's absolutely amazing to see. So on behalf of everyone that's been involved with this and everyone, thank you so much for doing this.
I've enjoyed it as well. As I say, this was a poignant day for myself. So the fact that you asked me today, as my old dad used to say, if you don't ask, you don't get, and that's another motto that I take into life every day. So well done for you for asking. Thank you.
Not a problem. Well, like you say, if you don't ask, you don't get. I thought if I'm never going to talk to you if I don't ask, so I might as well. So, but thank you for agreeing to do it and doing it on short notice. But thank you for the advice you give, and good luck, and hopefully we'll speak in the future.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.